It is August the 2nd, 2024, a little after 5 p.m. This is my first vlog of August. I can't believe it's already August. This year is going by way too fast. I got my iced tea right here, my good old homemade iced tea. It's hot outside. Alexa, what's the current temperature outside?
Right now, it's 96 degrees Fahrenheit.
96. Could be hot. Next week, we're projected to get close to 100. It's like 99, 99, 99, 99, 98, 99. And so it's crazy, crazy. My mom came to visit today for lunch. Really enjoyed her visit. This week, I've been on vacation. I took more of a staycation, which I'll put all that in a separate video. This video, though, I kind of wanted to talk about urban exploration. I love urban exploration. I love going, taking pictures, documenting buildings and locations and ruins and where buildings used to be and foundation remains. I know I'm weird, but hey, I enjoy it. And it has actually paid off because years of doing this, I get people to contact me if they can use my content. Just recently in Sherman, Texas, the old Midway Mall that was built in 1986 or opened in 1986. It took a sharp decline in the last 10 years with everything moving out more toward the main highway there in town. And well, new owners are trying to revive the mall, scaled it down to about 1/3 of its original size. 2/3 of it has been converted to storage units, and they're trying to revive the retail portion of it. There's a lot of new plans that the city has. Well, I've been kind of in contact with the owners and just kind of saw their post, and I kind of messaged them, and I'm like, I just made a comment, you know, that was like not like it used to be. I remember sad from its heyday. And of course, and that's kind of how we started communicating. And I don't want, I hope, if they see this, I don't want them to think I was being negative or anything. It's just, I was stating a fact, and things change. I understand that. I get that. And memories, it's what we have, right? But I am very happy they are trying to preserve the building, the exterior of the building, although the interior is going to look completely different. With the front, when you first walk in, the main entrance there, it still will retain pretty much how it originally looked with the, some of the architecture, fresh paint, fresh flooring. But other than that, as far as the footprint, it's going to be the same. The rest of the mall, totally different. It was gutted and everything, which is where a lot of the bigger stores were, the movie theater, food court, and all that gone. That's where the storage unit is. But on the exterior, they maintained its original appearance. They still kept the 3 tents, or at least I hope they plan on keeping the 3 large tents. But you have to look it up. Midway Mall, Sherman, Texas, when I say tents, so you see what I'm talking about. But anyway, so I had shared some pictures, that I'd gotten from my aunt after she passed away, from her collection. And well, they messaged me one day, like, hey, the news station is here. They're doing an interview. Do you mind if we use your pictures? I'm like, of course not. Go right ahead. Feel free to use them. It's kind of like a honor to my aunt, because one of them has my aunt in the picture in the food court, and the other one has my nephew. My cousin. It's her nephew. My cousin, first cousin, posing with some guy, probably someone famous. I don't know. And it shows how busy the mall was back in the day. He's my older cousin. He was a kid at the time, so it tells you kind of when it was. And I think that picture probably was in the late 80s. And I'm like, sure, feel free. And they posted them, so it feels. And of course, both have passed away. My cousin, he passed away in 2005 at the age of 29. It was just a few months before his 30th birthday. And my aunt just recently passed away on July 12th. So, great homage to him. I appreciate that. That's awesome. And I'm excited about that. And in the past, different urban exploration projects I've done, I noticed the news station in Sherman shared a link to my Sheridan Mall, which was the predecessor to the current mall that's now the old mall, which the Sheridan Mall was torn down when I actually lived up there for a couple of years, and then growing up visiting up there and everything, because that's where my dad's family was from. The Sheridan Mall was the old mall, and the Midway was the new mall. Well, now they built a whole outdoor shopping strip on the main highway, and that's considered the new shopping center. And then Midway is the old mall, and then Sheridan was torn down like 20 years ago. Actually, 20 years ago this year. It was torn down in 2004. And I have pictures taken of the inside of it, which I'll probably eventually post. And I noticed the news station had linked to my Flickr album. So that was awesome. And going back a few years when I used to live in upstate New York, which I'm not from, I'm originally from East Texas, but I did move up there for about 10 years. And I continue my urban exploration up there. And up there, it's a lot of older buildings. They believe more in preserving their buildings, whereas here, historically, people down south, or at least in the Texas area, tend to tear down the old buildings. So it was really exciting up there knowing that, a lot of the old high schools have been converted to like senior housing, and here they're torn down. And there's this one old movie theater called, what was it called? Cinema North. And it was in Mattydale, which is a suburb of Syracuse. Got to take pictures, whatever. And so I posted those, and I actually did a couple of videos on YouTube before, and in the past, which I've removed, which because I've redone. And that video about the Cinema North Theater is on this channel, so you can go check it out. I figured I'd modernize it since it was torn down, because when I originally made my 2 original videos, it had not been torn down. Anyway, so back when it was still standing, the local paper in Syracuse had a series called Clean Sweep. They would go and hit up dilapidated structures that'd been there for a while and do story articles on them and do like a history and kind of document them and everything. So they approached me and be like, hey, do you mind if we share your link to our newspaper? I'm like, feel free. So they had done that. Well, since then, of course, that page is blank if you went to that page now. And, and I really don't care if people use my content. I just would love to know about it so I can share, like I've shared with you now, because I like getting this information out, preserving history, and just making a homage to, what once was. And with that being said, I'm going to kind of add more of this to my channel, this kind of content. And so, my current projects. Tyler, Texas, in Northeast Texas, population, 2020 population of 105,000. I think now it's estimated around 109,000. The downtown area. They are ultimately going to build a new courthouse and tear the current one down. And so following that progress. And so they, in January or February of this year, they broke ground on a brand new 540-ish parking car garage, 5-story. And I heard, and I have not seen official, I don't know about it, but I have seen that the parking garage was built to the specifications to where it could actually be enlarged to add a couple of 2 or 3 more decks for future growth. Whether that happened or not, who knows? But that's hearsay. I don't want to say that for fact until I verify it. But the topping off ceremony, oh my gosh, I think it was a couple of months. I mean, they got that thing up. Oops, ouch. Sorry, I got a hangnail. I don't know if you see right there. I'm not giving the middle finger, I promise. It's my finger next to my pinky. See, on this finger right here, I got a hangnail going on there, and it kind of hurts. So when I stabbed it, like, but this parking garage. So the topping out ceremony, and it was like, my gosh, that thing just went up quick. They did prefabricated panels. They had apparently already been working on those panels way before they broke ground, and they put it together like Lego blocks. I mean, that thing just went up, and what's going to take the longest is the fitting out. So they had to put in the electricity, the elevators, paint the outside, fill in, put the seals in for leak and all that, add plumbing or whatever. I'm not sure what's all in there. I'm sure they're I don't know specifically, but I would assume there's like a maintenance area, like a maintenance office or whatever. There may not be, I don't know, but I'm just assuming. And well, that is going to projected to be open here in less than 2 months. And it looks like they're going to make that. The weather has been really awesome. It's been hotter than hell here, which after all the rain we've had, I kind of welcome the heat. It's rare for me to say. And then on July the 8th, the contractor that's in charge of this whole project, they took over the block of downtown Tyler, which is a row of historic buildings, that are going to be demolished. That part sucks. I hate demolishing old buildings. But what I do appreciate is the fact that the new courthouse is going to pay homage in its architecture, because the architecture was inspired by the old courthouse, currently the old courthouse, not the current courthouse, but the one prior that was built in 1910, I think. And it was demolished in 1955 for the current courthouse. And the current courthouse is just basically a square box with shoulders. So if you take my shoulders and go across and up, make a square box, that's what the current courthouse looks like. And add square windows all over the place. And they had, and that replaced a beautiful, stately 3-story building with a big rotunda top, Lady Justice statue at the top. I mean, clock tower, everything. And the clocks, a couple of the clock faces was actually preserved. They were found in a storage basement, so they're actually were restored and installed into the city's parking garage down the street. So those can still be seen. And then there was a big, huge light fixture that hung in the courtroom. In the grand courtroom of that old courthouse that was at the new parking garage, and I noticed it's missing. It's gone. It's just the pole's still there, which I'm assuming one of those really bad storms that Tyler got hit with this spring, unfortunately, probably destroyed it, which is sad, but, you know, you can't help Mother Nature, right? But it is what it is. The Lady Justice statue to the 1910 courthouse, of course, a lot bigger than that. It's like, I stood next to it. It's taller than me. It's in the Smith County Historical Society Museum. So that's awesome. It'd be cool if they put it back, you know, because I saw the diagram in the new courthouse is going to be 7 floors, I think, with the rotunda at the top. And then, but there's no Lady Justice at the top. And it's like, they should put the Lady Justice up there. It'd be awesome if they could put the original Lady Justice back up where she rightfully belongs. Maybe that's something I can kind of hint. Anyway, so that being said, the new courthouse is inspired by the 1910 courthouse. And instead of being like me, it's going to go all the way up and then have the rotunda. I think the 7th floor is slightly smaller footprint than the rest of the 6 floors. I think the floors 5 and 6 are just extra. I mean, I'm not sure exactly to the extent of it. But I remember reading that that's for future expansion, for future courtrooms. They're actually planning the use of this courthouse for at least 75 years, right? 75 years. The current courthouse is the longest serving courthouse. It was opened up in 1955. You know, you do the math. The previous courthouse, 1910 to 1955, 45 years. It was the second longest courthouse. Well, the new courthouse that they're planning for a 75-year minimum, you know, use. Which means once 75 years, by that point, the type of architecture is going to be, it'll be a historical landmark because it's going to be a beautiful building. I mean, it doesn't have the detail that the 1910 courthouse has, but it's going to pay homage enough that I really feel that it's going to become a historical landmark. And so, that being said, I talked to the manager of the construction crew a couple of months back when I was taking pictures of the parking garage, and he told me that it's going to take, I think, like 10 months. They're going to actually have the frame of the new courthouse up once they start construction. So, July the 8th, July the 8th, they fenced off that block to where you can't walk up in there. Once block to the south was completely cut off between this block and the jail, which they're going to build an underground tunnel. And then you can still go around, but instead of 3 lanes technically, it's only 1 lane. And then I just saw on the news that this coming Monday, which is the 5th, August the 5th, demolition will commence on the structures on that block where they put in the new courthouse. Again, very sad. There's no historic theater there, which I have pictures. I'll eventually show those. Do a video on that called the Arcadia. Arcadia side was preserved, and which is great. But once those buildings are demolished, then they have to come in and they have to dig I think he told me it was a 20-foot pit for the footprint of the new courthouse because it's going to have a full basement. It's going to have a full basement. And then once that courthouse is, once they get that basement built, then they're going to start the foundation, the framing, and then at that point in time, he said it would take about 10 months for that, for 8 floors of building. That's the basement plus 7 floors and the rotunda, the framing. It's going to be steel and concrete. That's going to be the fastest part. Now the fitting out, that's what's going to take a couple of years. Yeah, a couple of years. So that's the, the outside facade, the skin, if you will, your electrical, your plumbing, your walls, your HVAC system, phone lines, Wi-Fi, internet, all your furnishings and everything else that is involved with all your fixtures, with a new building construction. And from what I understand, I think it's 2026 is the grand opening. And then once that courthouse opens and they move all the staff from the current courthouse, then the current courthouse will be demolished. I don't know how it's going to be demolished. I'm assuming, just based on the history, it'll be imploded. I've never seen a building imploded, which I want to see it. And anyway, so that's one of my projects. Another thing, I'm not really following it because we're really not doing nothing. I mean, they're not doing nothing interesting, is the Fort Worth Convention Center. So the Fort Worth Convention Center, they've really done a lot of work to it. And I do have pictures throughout the years, which I'll share eventually. But the arena looks like a flying saucer. And I love how it kind of gives Fort Worth that unique design. And I really hate they're going to tear it down, but of course it's going to be uploaded, presumptively. And I saw in the news that Fort Worth now said that tentatively, I guess, is 2027 that they're going to bring the arena down. So, have y'all? I don't know if y'all have heard of Kenneth Copeland Ministries, but they do an annual convention in that arena, and they've done for many years. And so I was just curious because they had one this year, because the arena is still in use. People can still use that arena. I think they're going to use it up until the last moment. So I was just curious if they're going to say anything about it. And so at the tail end, I was checked out the speaker, and he said that, we'll still be here at least until 2028. Okay. City said 2027. They're saying 2028. If I know city government, the city's going to pay them to break that contract. So we'll see what happens. Who knows? But I want to be there because I do have a personal connection with that arena. That's where I was baptized. So I used to go there myself for different church conventions. So I really, and then I have a lot of memories there with friends and family. A lot of them have passed away, and I need to be there. Just, kind of a closure type thing. Plus, I'm into that stuff, right? So, yeah. And, yeah. And also, a couple other places I've been kind of tracking off the record is the Baker Hotel in Mineral Wells, the multi-year renovation project on that, the multi-year renovation project on the old Grimm Hotel in Texarkana, which is now opened as an apartments. But from what I understand, I can get a tour. I just need to get my butt up there. And then, of course, Texarkana has the abandoned Hotel McCartney that's just sitting there collecting dust for many years. But it does have a interesting history. There's the old Falls Hotel that was originally a Hilton in Marlin, Texas. So I really love this urban exploration stuff. And yeah, anyway, I'm getting on almost 20 minutes at 19.11, 12, 13, 14. All right, y'all. Y'all take care now. Bye.